Hi, welcome to another episode of Life Path Live. I'm Brian Main, and this is my weekly program helping people to find their path in life and live it well. And tonight, special focus on surviving and thriving throughout the COVID-19 storm. And I'm joined by world legend DJ and old-time mate, Brandon Block, who I've just been doing a coaching session with to help him create a goal map for this period. Brandon is a goal mapping teacher, as well as being a really nice bloke. And not a bad DJ, mate, I have to say.
Thank you very much for those wonderful words. and a nice revisit to my my method of goal mapping, because obviously I think you get into bad habits, and I had get into a few, but it was and it's always lovely, a pleasure to speak to you, mate. And go to. I'm just quickly before I can't see the live somewhere.
We are live. I can see it live on Facebook on my screen, and I'm really surprised to hear you say that you're someone that has had bad habits.
My life consisted of bad habits. That's all it was made up of. I had loads of them. I loved them all. But I think we've all had, we all pick up bad habits, or, unhelpful, let's say. They may not all be bad. You never know. I mean, if they're not serving you correctly, and they're not, we're not, and they're making you think bad of them, then they're bad habits, But we get used to things. Being human beings and being creatures of habit, as you well know. Things that make us feel good in the short run, short-term fixes are always an option we would go for, because we like instant gratification. We crave things. I read a really good sentence in a book by Dan Harris, who'd written a book about meditation, 10% Happier. And it was about one of his teachers called Goldstein, someone. And he does a retreat about his Buddhist. It's based on Buddhist theology. But he basically said that we, as creatures, we crave everything. So there's a small, and the amount of craving gets larger with whatever it is you're after. But theoretically, we are always looking for something to make us feel good, whether it's a cup of tea, anything that you do, which you always say, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that, or a biscuit, anything. But it doesn't have to be entrenched in addiction. It's just, human beings, we crave these little things. So that made me really think, wow. So a lot of that stuff about, addictive behaviors or bad habits, everyone's got them, in a lesser or a bigger form. But
I've had many.
And I was there with some of them. We don't remember. I know that we've spoken about this.
Look, I am such a believer in everything happens for a reason and a purpose.
Yeah.
And it can serve. And so I don't believe anything that happens in our life is really by accident.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't see the meaning in it, but there is meaning in it. And it's no secret that you had your battles years ago with addiction.
Oh, man.
Now, you also found your way through those. And not only did you find your way through the addiction into recovery and a freedom in yourself, but you found a passion in yourself to help other people to overcome the addictions they were facing. And I want to talk about that a little bit, because I know it's an important part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
and something that's a passion for you. I also want to talk about it because I believe it is one of the most important gifts, actually, that you can share with people right now, because we're in a situation with this COVID-19 storm where people are needing to change habit patterns.
Yeah.
It may not be a habit of taking cocaine or something like that, but it's a habit they've got of biting their nails, for instance, which right now is one of the worst things you can do, because you're passing the virus from from hand to mouth. So
Yeah.
people en masse, like never before in human history, are needing to change daily habit patterns, some of which they may have had since they were a child. And the principle of changing a habit pattern, whether that habit is alcohol, cigarettes, narcotics, biting your nails, touching your face, needing to go outside, whatever the habit is, the principle is the same.
Yeah.
And so you've made a journey, Brandon, that a lot of people wouldn't have made. And while I know your story, and you are a world famous guy, and I know there'll be a lot of people watching that know your story, there will be some people watching your story tonight.
Yeah.
Some people watching tonight that don't know your story.
Okay.
So just give us a little bit about who you are and the journey you've been on.
Okay.
So that the relevance of that is really clear for everyone.
Okay. So hi everyone. My name's Brandon Block. Thank you, Brian, for that lovely intro, and it's always lovely to talk to you, mate. So basically, I was very fortunate in the 90s to be classed in a group of people called Superstar DJs, I think we were known as. But for me, the notoriety came from my over exuberance and zealousy in my partying, and also in my use of substances to help me party. And basically took me to a very, I had a great time, and it probably wasn't until afterwards I actually realised that I did have a good time, but during the time it wasn't great for me then. But after I went into a clinic in 1996 to recover and get well, and I stayed there for 3 weeks, and I came out, and then sort of a brand new model, but with no life skills and no and full of anxiety, just full of anxiety, because now I'm raw. I've not no support as such. I'm gone on my own journey. I then embarked on a 12-step program for a couple of months, which didn't actually. It helped me firstly, but then it didn't do what I was needing. I then went on my own journey, and through that, some great things happened to me after I'd stopped doing all the madness, and things. I got a Top of the Pops hit, a number 3 hit on Top of the Pops, which, for those of you who are in the tender years, will remember that was the program we grew up on. It also enabled me to go and work with vulnerable people doing helping people deal with their substance abuse and drug addiction and crime and bad behaviours and bad habits. I did that for 5 or 6 years. Then I went for the NHS with people with even more entrenched and chaotic behaviour and how do I say, different habits, but it was to do with mental health and homelessness and crime, obviously, and substance abuse. But they were I did outreach, which means going to people's houses, but these were people who were very, very hard to help. And it was a lot of work, very, very intense, which I got burnout from. And then on the back of that, leaving that job, I actually went into the Celebrity Big Brother house, which turned out to be not the best move I could have made with burnout from a mental health environment. Anyway, so on the back of that, I came out of the house and had to find myself again, which I did by meeting mutual friends of mine and Brian's, who I have known for 30 odd years, Carl Pearsall, and alongside a visit to Tony Robbins event. I then realised that there was stuff I could do to bring myself back up to an emotional sort of level of balance. And I sort of got involved in this world of, I suppose you could call it personal development. I don't like to call it that now because I think it's just well-being. There were aspects of it which were really great, and I've used and embraced. And there's aspects of it which aren't great, like anything. But the wonderful things that have come out of it is Brian and goal mapping, which has helped me no end in my first, leading. In the last few years, it's been helping me every single day. It helps me. And I met the teams I've created, and Brian's part of one of the businesses we run, which is, again, something we were very passionate about. So, I have a lovely woman, and just things have gone great since I embarked on that journey, I suppose. It has its ups and downs, as life does, but, where I am now, and the journey I've been on has enabled me to, been tough, don't get me wrong, but has enabled me to navigate, or as Brian would, set my sail and head towards where I want to be. I still don't know exactly where I want to be, because, you know, we're in a world, where are we now? We cannot tell you tomorrow what's going to happen. So this is, I suppose this is what the point of this conversation is tonight. And the goal map I've done is about something that I'm working on, which is to do with the well-being of many, many people. And I've been working on it for 5 years. It's just taken this long to be able to get someone to, or to use it the correct way. I was told the other day it was a bit too early when I first started working on it. So, you know, I've had a goal map for this. So, yeah.
And just in case people don't know, goal mapping is a way of setting goals that uses words and pictures to help activate both sides of your brain. And been teaching it since 1995. It's reached nearly 5 million people, 1 million children, business people, sports people, people from all walks of life. And there are 1,400 people in the world that are certified to teach it. And I feel honoured, mate, that you chose to be one of those people that teach goal mapping. And you've done a lot of great work with it. And it's been great working with you.
And you too, mate.
Now tell us about your project that you've got at the moment, which is Get Well Together.
So, many years. So when I was working in the drug and alcohol field, and I was working with the criminal justice system. So, as part of the, it's going to take a bit of time to explain. So, as part of the orders that were given out to the people we were working with, they come from the court system, the justice system, right? So, a lot of the people who take drugs and are using them prolifically are committing trigger offences. The trigger offences are usually something to do with theft or shoplifting or robbery or trigger crimes which enable them to sell or get money to feed their drug habits, basically. So, but the part of that order was that they attend a drug rehabilitation requirement, which is what we were running. It was like a day program where we had to serve interventions, solution-focused, brief interventions, which are, and an intervention is a way of intervening in something. So it's a behaviour cycle or a thought pattern or anything, just a small intervention which can spark off a bigger change. So what happened was that a lot of the people were having to travel far to come to these services, and they were often late, and they were marked down as a point against their name, and then they got breached by probation, which then meant that they would either go back to prison or they were, you know, put on some other sort of thing. Sorry, to want a better explanation. So it would end up probably wanting to go back to prison or extending their order. Now the thing was, they were trying to avoid the prison time because the actual prison services, because they were overloaded, and it costs a lot of money to put people in and out of prison. You have police time, you have the services time, you have the driver's time, you have the police service, the prison service time. So it costs a lot of money to put people back in prison. Anyway, so I thought, well, technology is moving quite quickly. I can see the use of having a mobile phone with an app which is linked to a recovery or a treatment system, which they can log into, which means they've actually getting an intervention by looking at an affirmation or something that changes on a daily basis. And it's a solution, it's a brief intervention, which is what we do. Change happens in small steps. We often know that. It's very difficult to do big changes because we're fearful of them. So the idea that they would then log in onto this app, change small things on a daily basis, and that would save them having to actually come to the service. So that sort of that was the dream, that was the idea, and that was what I wanted to work on. So I'm trying to share the video, Brian, and I had a model, I had it written, I had a guy I was working with who I'm actually working with still. We had a beta designed, we had the whole thing, it was ready to go. We had all the content, all the actual treatment system, the way it works. It was available in an app, like a personal project, and it was your own goal setting, it was journal, and the whole thing. It was a really cool little thing. We came up against loads of terms and conditions at that time because this is the time when people were using social media to basically say what they wanted and hurt people, and it was not very which also wasn't very easy to get the permission to work with people's mental health at that time, which is fair enough. But moving forward 5-6 years, we've now got a pandemic, a very frightening situation on our hands, and the governments and NHS trusts and various services are just crying out for things to help people. So the app hopefully is going to be built very soon. I'm just waiting for some final details to come through, but it's going to be a wellbeing platform with the relevant information you need to know about COVID-19 on a daily basis, but also some very nice things that are happening, although around the outside of that, to manage, help to manage your mental health, more so now than ever, because we were. I think we wanted to talk about this anyway, Brian, but we were talking about how things have changed, but I'll leave it over to you. But that's the project I'm talking about now, and it's called Get Well Together, i.e. we get well together as a community, and that's what we're aiming for, and it looks like.
And this was in your goal map that we created just before the live here.
That's the goal map. It was also my goal map about one of the first ones I did before, when we first there. But yes, it is.
Can you? I don't have your map, but if you share your screen and go to your goal mapping account.
Let me just shut down certain stuff, and I'll do that for you. Of course.
Have you got some secret stuff up that you
don't
want people to see?
No, just boring stuff, mate.
That's some dodgy stuff.
No, just boring stuff. I don't want to do that, do I? I want to do this. Right. Oh, just records. You want to see some records, everyone? That's what I do as well. No, here you go. Right, where are we?
Plenty of records behind you there, mate.
Yes, I've got a few. I had loads more. I gave a load to charity about, years ago. I gave a load to, I think it was a multiple sclerosis charity.
I gave all mine to Oxfam, 5,000.
Yeah, I gave about 15 away.
Did you? Wow.
Yeah. I know, but at the time there was a lot of promos. Right, I've doubled up, duplicated on the map because obviously there's. But
need to share your screen first, Brandon.
I'll share it now, mate. Okay.
Okay.
Right, can everyone see that?
Yeah, it's up on the screen.
Cool.
So main goal in the centre then is what you were just talking about.
Yeah, so the main goal is get well together, and that has been pretty much at the front of my thinking for. I'll be honest with you, I did a goal map about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, which had get well together because I knew something was happening. It wasn't as prevalent as it is now. But since then, we did one today, which is now more current, obviously, and it has the same impact. I think the pictures speak well of.
Now, what's the title of this goal map, Brandon?
This is called Remember the Time We Thrived, COVID-19.
And what's that mean for you?
Well, although it's we're still not fully aware of what's happening, I think for me, I'm very fortunate and very grateful to have the support around me with Wendy and also.
And Wendy's your partner?
Wendy's my partner. And we've been sort of, I stopped going out 3 or 4 weeks ago, to be honest. I didn't want to, as soon as I heard about it, I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to take whatever bit of advice. I'm going to, I went to the shops, obviously, get some food, but I haven't been out anywhere else. I've not been socialising, I haven't been parked. I've been doing my exercise in the morning, riding 25 miles, but on my own through the woods, and coming home and just doing a bit of workout and then just doing my stuff on,
Yeah, super.
So,
why is this goal then about launching Get Well Together? Why is this central to the focus of this map, which is you not just surviving but thriving? Is it because this goal of launching Get Well Together gives you a sense of purpose, gives you a reason?
That is the you've just done it. You've just said it. That is the pivotal point of this whole map is because I finally found a way to as you wanted it. And I always remember you saying, I want to help 7 million people.
Yeah,
You know,
that's my big reason.
And goal mapping does help people, and it does it very, 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 very nicely. And you know, it's not there to, you know, you're very generous with the content, and very, you know, you offer it out very freely, and this is what I love about that. You know, I didn't want to I've always been about that empathy, and what I've you know, the fact that I survived when I did back then is that now I realise that I have stuff that I can probably help people with, and there's a reason to want to live, or, you know, however helpless life gets, there are lots of things now which are available to people before hopefully it gets to that bad, you know. So
I get it.
I think
well done, mate. Well done.
Thank you.
Tell us about the side goals either side of the main goal.
Okay, so Get Well Together, as I said, it's a wellbeing platform. It's going to have good information and some nice stuff to start your day. It will also have a portal for yourself, so a goal checker, or you know, your own progress tracker. But it's all happening. So it's basically your own little wellbeing centre. I'm helping people survive, hopefully, through these very tough times. You know, people are isolating, people who don't have contact with various families and friends, and, you know, I can't imagine how tough that is. I mean, you know, my parents, my dad is okay, he's in America with his wife, but my mum's alone, my auntie's alone. You know, my mum has underlying health conditions, and, you know, bless her, she was still out on the street the other week, and until I actually told her, go home. You know, they usually, you know, they come through the war, and they go through the Blitz and the blackouts and the big fogs and all the major things that have happened in the last 100 years or whatever. And you tell them something else is catastrophic happening, and they think, oh, we can do that, you know, bless them.
Yeah.
So yes, so to Get Well Together will enable me to give back unconditionally. So there won't be any people just get it. I'm fully passionate about this. That's the fully and focused, which is the Dalai Lama looking over the mountain range, helping people survive. As I say, we're sustained well-being for many, which, you know, hope this continues well after.
That's your side goal on the left there.
That's the one with the teachers jumping up. Well-being for many. Strong and healthy is Neptune.
And that's you.
That's me.
Looking like a Greek god.
Well, more like a
with a trident.
more like a.
I'm sure you went to some fancy dress parties years ago.
You're not dressed like that, though. Oh dear.
And we got you and Wendy.
So myself and Wendy, I'm nurturing loved ones, and I think, look, this is what we talk about after the map is about, you know, the fact that we are, and I think everyone is. I'm hoping, you know, we're connecting again. And I think about it is, look, and I think we're connecting the right way. This is what I always thought, right? 5 years ago, when I was thinking about Get Well Together, I was already thinking, I'm not keen on the way we connect on the social media, because it's all about comparison, all about expectations, all about looking like someone else, or looking to be someone else, or having something that someone else has got, as opposed to actually saying, I'm all right with me.
Yeah.
I'm just all right with me, and that's fine. And that's what was missing. So that's what the first thing came to mind. So what's happening is now we're talking on camera, but there's no ulterior motives.
No.
And it's lovely to see everyone just being there to support, help, and be part of what we are. We're social animals, you know, and
it's such an important lesson that
absolutely.
You just outlined about, you know, just being okay with yourself.
Yeah.
And not needing to impress others. Was it a conscious or a subconscious thing that you've got you and your woman opposite you being the Greek god?
Oh, no, it's totally subconscious.
With the
maybe, I'm sure. Do you know what? She's.
I notice these things. You know.
She's my goddess. You're right, and yes, I am. You know, but she does motivate me to get up and do my exercise and stuff like that. So
I'm sure she does.
A good thing.
And then top right, we have attracted a worldwide community.
Ah, right. So that's, as you say, with goals should be written in the tense that we already have them.
Yeah.
So
To make them powerful, an affirmation.
Absolutely. So the
The
idea
picture,
is
obviously, a visualization.
Yeah, I think the app is something that we can be used by any community, and the idea is that to stop isolation. And look, the funny thing is, like, when we first started doing it, it was based around sort of drugs and alcohol addictions and substance misuse, let's say, just to start off. It turned out being growing in, hopefully encompassing any type of journey of mental recovery, physical recovery, whatever it was, but getting, by using community, getting better. So Ollie, who makes the app with me, he had contacts in the Caribbean, and they were going to use it to people who are isolated, live in the jungles, who, when you hear about, because at the time there was a massive drug epidemic in, I think it's Indonesia, and he was very in with a lot of the health ministers of these countries. But so a lot of the people who are isolated in the jungles or in small villages were using drugs. But then what happens is, when you try to come off drugs, is you don't have the support and you get ill. So that would have been
even in the remote villages, they were using drugs.
Remote villages as well. When you get in touch with the West, the civilization, you get that whole thing about being attracted into the bigger world, the bigger picture, and to go back to your normal life and you get introduced to this stuff. Who knows? Who wants to change? It's a very difficult one. But so even now, God, he was telling me something the other day, which is really quite disturbing. That Antigua has, someone said, has 15 cases, which thank God no one has died yet, but they only have 11 ventilators on the island.
Yeah.
And that could be, and that's just one instance. It could be everywhere. So you've got to.
I've heard it with a lot of the small islands. Of course, they got no medical support, and it's going to be devastating for a lot of the third world countries. We're in a first world country and can't cope, and so doesn't bear thinking about the toll it's going to take in some of the third world countries.
No.
Tell us about the top of your map. These are the motivating reasons why it's important for you to achieve these goals.
So I'm helping people survive is the one. Giving back unconditionally and being passionate. And I've always been passionate about this since I've been, since I came out of that clinic in '96. I think my passion deep down was that I was grateful to be alive.
Yeah.
And being able to share whatever that was inside me to make that decision. I'm very grateful that was there then,
Just want to take a moment to remind everyone watching that the reason why we create goal maps, and almost 5 million people around the world have in the last 25 years, is that when you create the map using words and pictures, it helps to stimulate both sides of your brain, and that sends a really deep, strong command to your subconscious mind to help you to move towards the goal, whether that goal is about changing habit patterns or achieving something, or simply holding a picture of hope you have for the future. In just the same way that athletes visualize themselves being at their best to enhance their performance, we're using a goal map here to capture the visualization, and with the words we have the affirmation. So the words more for the logical mind, conscious mind, and the pictures, the imagery, more for the creative mind, and through that the subconscious mind. So you've chosen 7th of June here as your timeline. Start date today, 7th of April, 7 being a really good number, of course, through to the 7th of June. So 2-month timeline. I think when you were creating the map, you said to me, going longer just seemed like the world's changing so fast, we're living day by day.
Yeah, absolutely.
It seemed hard to put a longer time frame on it. When will the app go live? When are you looking?
We're working on it this week. Fingers crossed. With a few adjustments, we're going to have a meeting again tomorrow. But I mean, the reason I did the 7th of June is because I think, look, as you say, we can't we can't predict anything now. We don't know what's going to happen. So for me, this current goal, in theory, should be running by this date, well into before this date. So you know, give it 2 months, you know, all God willing and all being well. But you know, as I said, it could change dramatically tomorrow. Who knows? And this is why having done the course of goal mapping with you and going through the list, the ascension ladder, and looking at the program, the winds of change, and being able to take possibility out of, you know, negativity maybe, or, you know, developing possibility consciousness. These are vital tools in these days, because I think, you know, if you sit here and say, look at everything that you see, you're gonna end up not being so fearful that you won't attempt to do anything. And I think, you know, you have to be, you know, be as mindful as you can about yourself. You know, obviously I'm not, you know, saying if you care for people and you look after people, by all means do that to the best of your ability. But having said, you've got to look after yourself as well, because, you know, when you're not functioning well, you can't help others. And I think that's probably a great bit of advice, to make sure you are in a position to be. I mean, I'm a volunteer for the NHS responders. I joined last week, so I'm going to sign on. I think 7 days. I'm no symptoms still. I've not, you know, been isolating for 3.5 weeks. I'm sure we're good to go. So I'm going to go. I'm just going to be a cool minder, I think, for the time being. But I'm going to volunteer. So I think do these stuff that's available to you. You know, get involved in stuff. You know, don't sit and watch Netflix all day long. It's just
or conspiracy theories.
Yeah, also it's mind-numbingly boring, and you learn to. If you can do like myself and Wendy been doing, like an hour, we've had a couple of binges, I'll be honest, last week or something. But I mean, now it's like we say, right, watch an hour a day of this show, and then you look forward to seeing the next episode, you know, a couple of days later or whatever. So, and then you get on with some stuff and, you know, do some stuff that you've not been putting off and procrastinating about.
I've been recording a lot of video, walking the path video, which I've been doing the last year or so.
Yeah.
And lately, what I've been talking about a great deal is how fear and negativity so destroys our well-being. It destroys it mentally, emotionally, and of course physically, because when we go into fear,
yeah,
the fear releases cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and that suppresses our immune system. And in thousands of years gone by, when the fear was a wild animal, it worked well. We released cortisol, we went into fear, we suppressed all our secondary systems like our immune system, lymph system, digestion. That energy was sent to our muscles so we could run away really fast, climb a tree. And in fact, by running, we burn off the cortisol and we rebalance our brain and body chemistry.
Yeah.
Now, the coronavirus is a wild beast. It's a dangerous wild beast. But of course, we can't bloody well run from it. Instead, what we need to do is to sit at home. And it means we're not burning off the cortisol. We're not moving our body enough. We're getting an hour's exercise, but it's not enough, really. The fear is sitting in people, and it is really going to affect people's well-being. And it's been a concern for some weeks, and I've been talking about it on all of my lives and my video. And I'm hearing now some doctors talk about it. And it's not some new thing that I've invented. This has been known for some time. I've spoken to you about this before, not just the fear thing, but what I'm about to say next, which is that I used to play tunes years ago, like you still do. And I used to like the tune, but I didn't always hear the meaning in the words. And the tune that keeps coming back to me recently, and I don't know if you know it, Fear is the Mind Killer. Did you ever hear that?
No.
It was a 90s tune.
Was it the Mind Killer? Oh,
Fear is the Mind Killer.
Oh.
It's a line from a film, actually, called Dune, which was a real classic film.
Yeah.
Fear is the Mind Killer. And it is.
Yeah.
Because when we go into fear, when we release that cortisol, it short circuits the brain cell connection.
Right.
Our brain closes down and it focuses on the thing that we fear. and the thing that we fear looks bigger and bigger in our mind. It's the mind killer.
Yeah.
And when the fear was a hungry bear and we needed to run away from it, the system worked well. When the fear is, I don't know how I'm going to cope with changing my habit patterns, how I'm going to find some new ways of supporting my family, how I'm going to get through this crisis, the mind killer really doesn't work. And so instead of the fear, what we really need is to stay positive. And I saw this doctor being interviewed the other day on TV, and he was one of the first ones that I've seen saying a lot of lives are being lost to the virus, and a lot of lives are going to be lost as a consequence of the self-isolation.
Because the immune system's being compromised and stressed out.
And the people need to stay positive. And the news reader, the anchorman, said, yeah, that's great. How do you recommend people stay positive? And the doctor didn't really have an answer for him. But of course, there are lots of people with answers. It's staying positive is a science. It's not a fluffy thing anymore. There's a whole science of positive thinking, how the brain cells connect. And that's why we're encouraging people to do a goal map, because when you're doing that map, you're forming the connections. And then once you've got the map, you print it out, you look at it regularly. That maintains the connections, maintains the release of the feel-good chemical serotonin, helps boost the immune system, and you move forward. Tell us about your actions, the things you're going to do. And these are down the right-hand side of your timeline. So down the bottom there, we've got a group of what looks like professional people.
So basically, I'm taking the advice given and offered by the government by staying away. I'm doing social distancing. I'd wash my hands. I try not to touch my face, but you know what? I do occasionally. I've got a beard and it's itching. But it's probably not the best time to grow a beard then. But I've not been out. I really haven't been out. I've been to riding my bike in the woods, and I've been to the supermarket a couple of times with my mask on, with my helmet on, with my gloves on. I've looked like an alien when I've got in. I really have. And then I've come home, washed my hands, washed my clothes. So I'm, pretty, confident that we're doing the right thing. And I live in a little cul-de-sac, so I'm off the road. I'm not in contact with anyone. I've got no one round me, this side, that side. I'm taking the advice. I'm not, I'm not flaunting anything. I'm listening to what they say, and fingers crossed we'll be safe. Above that, I'm exercising once a day. I'm getting up early, 6:30, 7 o'clock, going on my bike, cycling 25, 26k on my own. I think we can call that cycling meditation. Yeah. And I suppose I've come to, realise that meditation is a fantastic thing. And I actually look forward to my morning meditation because I just escape for, 15, 20 minutes. And I do end up in there, whatever you want to call it, in that subconscious, in the space between the space. But I do. And you know what, you end up there and then you're there for a good few hours and it sort of resonates through the day and generally feeling fairly well. So by the time you watch the news in the evening, you're fairly well built up for the
bad news. It was mind killer.
So there you go. But I tell you what was really strange the other day.
It's a bit of a hard house tune, so it probably wasn't your in your box.
My bag. But I'll tell you what was really strange the other day, and I only, remember when you said, I love this, when you said when we was doing the goal practitioners course, and you said about listening to music, you didn't hear the words or the meaning in the words, and I thought, Christ, and it was only since you'd said that I'd noticed myself starting listening to songs I'm playing when I'm DJing and singing, because I can hear the songs I'm listening, because I'm in that place of listening to the words, thinking, there's love in that title, there's togetherness in that title, blah blah blah. So the other day, and this is not about love and togetherness, it's just about a bit spooky really. And remember Cerrone, Supernature?
Yeah.
Right, that was written in 1977?
Yeah.
Big disco tune, right?
Yeah.
Do yourself a favour, have a look at the lyrics on Google when you finish
Oh,
It's
well, I'll go
like,
check it out.
honestly, I was like, because I was listening, it came on in my my shuffle, and I thought, once upon a time, science opened up the door. It was like, oh my God. And it opened up the door, and the creatures down below came up.
There were some inspired tunes all around that time.
Incredible. But, you know, and
years ahead, light years ahead.
Oh my God, that was a huge record. But I mean, you'd read the whole verse, and I thought, God, this is really, you know, like they do these predictions, Nostradamus, and always. Someone probably saw this coming a long, long time ago, bless them. But anyway,
there's a lot of prophecy stuff around at the moment. So
yeah.
tell us about the Who's going to help then along the way.
Right, so
see you and your lovely lady.
Wendy's going to help me with my stuff. Will be staying well together at home and stuff like that. I'm working with Oliver Turnbull, Ian Hurst, Emma Fernandez on the Get Well Together project. I do my radio show, and I do 11 o'clock morning, do Facebook Lives with called The Tune Up, where I get some guests on. We play 3 or 4 uplifting records. Just early in the morning, people join on for the day. It just sets them up, gets them in a good mood. Been doing that for 3 or 4 weeks now. 3 weeks.
How are people going to find that if they want to find that?
Just go onto my Facebook, 11 o'clock in the morning. You'll see me with various guests, and Ricky Morrison, who's my partner at radio show. That's what we've been doing, doing a bit of online work. And yes, so that's pretty much it, mate.
Let me ask you a couple of questions then.
Sure.
So first one is, what's been the toughest thing during this last period with all the change?
Don't know. Do you know, it's a tough one. The hardest thing. I suppose, it's a habit. Is it habitual stuff, isn't it? I think acceptance of what's happening was fairly, it's there, isn't it? You can't sort of ignore it and think, well, this is not happening, because it is. So accepting that this is something we obviously can't control right now, which is very apparent. We have to, be mindful that we're not trying to read too much into it. I suppose the difficult thing, I didn't find the isolating difficult, because I enjoy being at home, especially now. So it wasn't, I suppose, not seeing people. Look, financially, my gig stopped dead on one day.
Yeah.
The one weekend, and then, so,
No. Well, I've travelled almost every week for years and years and years with my speaking gigs, and right up until they said, no, you can't fly to Italy anymore, I was still planning to go to Italy, because I had a big corporate gig booked there, and it wasn't in one of the lockdown areas, but just a blanket ban, of course, on people going there. But the thing that I really missed was the travel. I've accepted it, of course, and it is what it is. And I work a lot online to help people now.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it will go. I have events booked for September, October, November, December. Maybe they will happen. Maybe they will not happen. So I did wonder how it would be for you, because I know you probably travelled even more than me, actually.
Well, yeah, the travel, but it's not even mileage-wise. Yes, I did a lot, but every weekend that was, that's my job pretty much. I mean, apart from the stuff we maybe do elsewhere, but that I did it every weekend. I've done 35 years. It's the first time I've had a break of this length anyway, and from the 14th of March was the last gig I did. I actually went to a gig that night, and I have underlying. Have I got underlying health issues? No, I haven't got any illnesses, but I had a lung operation.
You're someone that needs to take extra care.
I think that's probably the best way to put it. Yes, but so from that night, then they banned big gatherings.
Yeah,
it was only a matter of time, and that's it until we don't know when. And you've got to think that, because it's not being managed yet, it's going to take time to get any type of control or management with this thing. Moving forward, you're going to have to manage the spread still, or the contagion, etc., until a vaccine's found. And then you've got to manage small spaces, i.e. interactions with people who may still have symptoms or not have symptoms, but you know are unsymptomatic, let's say. And then you have to manage the opening of small things, and then people are going to get back into business and how they're going to who's going to.
I don't think anyone has a plan for it yet.
Nobody
knows.
Can't predict anything, mate. I just think you've got to look after yourself and your family and friends and whoever you can without putting yourself at risk, and just be good and kind, and don't think too badly about yourself. Don't drive yourself mad now, because you know there's nothing. You don't need to achieve the targets now because they're not there. You don't need to be hard on yourself anymore, really.
For you,
yeah.
What's the best thing? Because there's always some good in all situations. So,
as you say, you know,
what do you think is a good thing that's come out of this? Is it the slowing down?
I think
appreciating life in a different way. What is it for you? All
those things. I think a whole load of different things, apart from the obvious stuff, which is not nice. The actual slow down, because as I said to you earlier, I think the world was heading to a big meltdown anyway. Literally up to, you know, think about it. How many people were life coaching, performance coaching, teaching, whatever, all about bettering yourself as a human, being better than you are, which is, you know, why can't you just be as good as you are?
Yeah.
You have to supposed to be better than, you know, than and who's the guide? Who's the judge? Who are you comparing yourself to? So that's what was happening a lot. So I think this is a reset, and you've just got to sit down and think, right, what really matters in my life? What is important? And you'll see that when you look around your lounge or your house or your garden or whatever else, or your flat or wherever you are, and you know, you just look and think, what do I actually need? And I bought this and I bought that and I went shopping and I went this and I eBayed and Amazon and this, and you think, well, none of it matters. It's gone overnight. All that whole thing has gone pretty much within a week, 2 days, 3 days, and you're not missing it. You don't miss it, do you? You're not missing it.
I think obviously some people are missing a lot of different things. I'm missing some things, but I think it's the whole situation is causing people to take stock and appreciate the small things.
Absolutely.
I am so appreciating going for a walk for an hour, you know, in wherever I can, but nature preferably.
Yeah, no, I found that the other day. I really, oh my God, myself and Wendy went for a walk in the woods about a week ago, and we drove and we parked in the corner and we went on our own. And I was just walking. I thought, I actually feel I can get the idea of the being part of nature thing, as we are evolved from wherever we evolved from, cells, whatever it was. And I actually feel if you just let go and let yourself try and immerse or disperse, even, I think is a good word, you actually can. I felt like part of nature. I felt like I was part of this planet at some point, and not something that just walked on it. So yeah, and I'm loving my bike ride in the morning. I get some clarity in my head. I just don't look at it. I just ride, and you know, I go through the woods. I stay away from the roads if I can. You know, not that there's anyone there, but I just, you know, I like to be watching the squirrels run around and falling down, you know, steep hills, which I did the other day.
We've got red squirrels.
No, where? The Isle of Wight.
Tufty tails, yeah. It's a big red squirrel area here.
Oh, I love red squirrels.
You don't get them so many places. I had a really intense spiritual experience 27 years ago, which was life-changing for me. And as you know, I used to run a disco here on the island, and you come and played there once. And then that all come to an end, and I had this big experience, and it took me off on a new path. And when I had that big experience, my outlook on life very much changed. And I started to see things in life that were always there, but I'd never seen them before.
Yeah.
Never really seen the beauty of a flower, the magnificence of a cloud, those types of things. And I started to see a deeper reason and meaning in life. And I know that you hold a lot of those same beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
at the time when I had my experience, I got a lot of ridicule from different people that didn't hold those same beliefs and had a more materialistic view of life.
Mm-hmm.
But even those same materialistic people are saying to me at the moment that they feel like this is the planet needing to reset and rebalance itself.
Yeah.
Because human beings had pushed it so far out of balance with basically greed. You know, the whole more that you were talking about just now has created such a lot of excess and pollution.
Yeah.
And done so much damage to the environment. It's almost like the planet has said enough. Now, my thought is, and this is my last question to you for tonight.
Yeah.
When the virus has passed, and it will pass at some point,
Yeah.
my belief is that the world will never go back to the way it was before. Some things in life will return. Maybe we'll all be able to have that social connection.
Yeah.
And there will be other things that were part of daily life before COVID-19 that will certainly not continue after COVID-19. And people will look back on this time and say, oh, that was before COVID and after COVID. You know, that was a before way of living, and then we see the after way of living. What do you think will be different after the storm has passed?
Well, look, I mean, I'm quite emotional at times. So when I used to see things like, I saw a video when David Attenborough said, and he was saying about this white rhino, and I'm an animal lover through and through, Brian. And he said, this is the last white rhino of its species because it's been hunted to extinction. We cannot breed this rhino because there's no female left to breed. And I burst into tears. And if anything happens and the animals can survive, can reproduce and come back from the brink of extinction by any of them for this downtime, not that that's the case, that would be a good change. As far as for us is concerned, there's going to be dramatic change. I don't know I mean, if you read that book, Sapiens, right, and all the systems, the thing I'm quite amazed about is, right, all the systems that we built as human beings to live by, the law system, the agricultural, revolution, the scientific revolution, the cognitive revolution, all these things that have mapped our sort of existence through this, because we're in such a modern age, and this is now something that's traveling at the speed of light type thing, because obviously we travel the world, don't we? We go from country to country. We're not like it takes months on a ship to get anywhere. You can go there in a day, anywhere. So managing that thing, I think travel is going to take a long time to get back to any sort of normality. I think that there will definitely be some change in the financial system. I'm not sure. I think the consciousness of people, as you say, I think people will keep in touch. Who knows? Maybe it will last for a while or not. We don't know. But there's definitely, I don't know what to predict, but it's definitely going to change. And let's hope the changes are good.
Something you've said a couple of times is about the set of the sail. And it's a concept we use in the goal mapping workshop, that change is like the wind that blows, but regardless of which way the wind is blowing and how strongly, if you're a skilled sailor, you can adjust the set of the sail and you can capture the force of the wind, and you can use that to power you on your journey. And we're in a bloody storm of change. And the personal set of your sail is your outlook on life and your attitude and your physical choices, how you respond to the wind. And so my last question to you, I'd have sneaked in another one because I didn't say last one, but one more is, so what's the set of your sail? What's the cut of your jib, mate, right now for the storm that's blowing? How are you setting your rig?
Look, you know what? I'm working. I'm doing enough for me at home. So I'm working enough for the time that I need. I'm doing what I feel is enough for me here now, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Some of the stuff I never got done before, so I'm going to not procrastinate now. But I'm going to continue with the stuff I was working on, but more diligently, I think is the word. But you know, there's no point in making dramatic changes now because you don't know. So I'm just going to take day at a time. I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to do my exercise in the morning. I'm going to come back. We're going to do some exercise, yoga or whatever. Then I'm going to come in at the office and do my little bits and pieces. And I'm going to, as someone said, I organise my day, which I'm trying to do, and I'm doing it better. So do an hour of this, hour of this, hour of this. Not getting bored. Then I put a bit of downtime, and then I have early nights. I don't stay up late watching telly. I go and read, and I go to bed early.
Good on you, mate. Brandon Block, world-class superstar DJ, an all-round good egg, mate, helping a lot of people. Thank you for being the guest tonight. I'm going to go and check out the lyrics to Supernature.
Yeah, look, I'll tell you what, while we're on here, let's read them. I'll get them because it's quite amazing, right? I was actually taken aback by... I mean, you think about it, you know,
Don't bother checking out the lyrics of Fear is the Mind Killer.
No, don't worry about that. No danger of that, mate.
It's depressing stuff.
Those sort of tunes that don't enter my... Yeah, all right. Ready?
Yeah, go on. We're all ears.
Once upon a time, science opened up the door. We would feed the hungry fields till they couldn't eat no more. But the potions that we made touched the creatures down below. Oh, and they grew up in a way that we'd never seen before. Supernature, blah, 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 blah. They were angry with the man because they changed their way of life. They take their sweet revenge as they trample through the night. For 100 miles or more, you can hear the people cry, but there's nothing you can do. Even God is on their side. Wow. How can I explain that things are different today? Darkness all around, Molly takes a sound. Such a sad affair. No one seems to care. It goes on, but it's like one of these. I'm supposed.
It's a prophecy.
It's like a prophecy, man. Wow.
It's like a prophecy.
But have a read of it by all means.
Will do.
It's great to see you, mate, and
you too.
And God bless you all for watching. Thanks for watching, and just look after yourselves. Stay well, stay calm, stay in.
Final word to everyone watching tonight. Then please do go create your own goal map. I hope Brand has been an inspiration to you.
Check out Happy Days, my little page on Facebook, and happyhub.club, which is also a portal for getting some well-being advice from some wonderful practitioners like your good self. Brian's on there. Brian's part of it, in fact. So, yeah, as you said, make yourself a goal map, even for the next week. Just have something to look at. And I think they're just great to get some idea down on paper. And the thing
works if you work it.
It does work if you work it. And also the thing that really resonated with me, because I was always looking for stuff I'm a creative. I think the fact that you draw pictures and then have a route to get to where you need to go is fundamental.
Stay safe, mate. Be well. Live long. See you soon. All the best.
Bless everyone. Ciao, ciao.
Good night, everyone.